everyone, and welcome to Radiant Love's Love Talk. My name is Angel D. Thomas, and I am the founder and CEO of Radiant Love, which was established in 2017. Radiant Love exemplifies the power of boldness, beauty, and self-confidence. I want to encourage everyone to be the best version of themselves. Y'all be bold, y'all be beautiful, y'all be you. So in May of 2015, my mother-in-law was diagnosed with breast cancer and underwent a double mastectomy. She is an extremely strong woman, and her story encouraged me to create the 23 Days of Love Talk Challenge, which consists of 23 days of love talk for the month of October in efforts to raise money for the Knitted Knocker Foundation. Knitted Knockers are a handmade breast prosthesis for anyone that has undergone a mastectomy or any type of breast procedure. I'm asking my supporters to support me in this cause by donating $23 to Radiant Love, which will be donated to the Knitted Knockers Foundation. My goal is to raise $600, and with your help, I know I can reach my goal. So joining us tonight on Love Talk is Brea Manuel, who is a PhD chemistry student. Let's add her on now. Hey, Brea.
Hey.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. Long time no see.
I know.
It's good seeing you. Good seeing you. Thank you for being a guest on Love Talk. I am super duper excited. I'm super proud of you. And we're just going to jump right on in.
Okay.
My camera. So everyone, this is Brea Manuel, and I'm just going to tell you all a little bit about her. So Brea Manuel is a Prairieville, Louisiana native that graduated with her Bachelor of Science in Chemistry from LSU and is currently in a PhD program at Emory University studying chemical biology and bioorganic chemistry. After graduation, she plans to teach and own a lab at an HBCU, preferably Xavier University. Welcome, Brea. Thank you for being a guest on Love Talk.
Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. So you did graduate from LSU, and you graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, and you're currently in a PhD program studying chemical biology and bioorganic chemistry. So what is it about chemistry that most excites you?
Chemistry is a part of everything. It's a part of our lives. It's a part of everything that we see. And so I got into research in chemistry, and I realized that you could apply it to everything, right? Like our medications, they're chemicals. And I personally really enjoy research, and I really wanted to make pharmaceutical products to help us. And so that's where I got into it.
Oh, wow, that is amazing. And like you said, chemistry is literally a part of everything. Yes. And you're currently in a PhD program at Emory University, which is in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes.
And I just want to know, what are the requirements to be accepted in a program like that?
So they've changed since I've gotten accepted, but when I was applying, they required the GRE, which is no longer required. And they require your transcripts. So they look at your classes, look at your grades in chemistry, of course. And you need 3 letters of recommendation. So it's really important that you get to know your professors. And a personal statement, previous research. Research is the biggest part. You have to have research experience going in.
So you have to do research on different type of labs and everything, or?
Yes. So in undergraduate, I did research in analytical chemistry and I guess you could say structural biology. I'm not doing any of those now, but they just love to see research experience.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And when it comes to searching for schools, sometimes it can get overwhelming and hectic because there are literally hundreds of schools out there everywhere. So when it comes to you deciding to go to Emory, how did you decide that you wanted to go there?
I really liked it for undergraduate, but there were a few factors that stopped me from going. And one big one was not really wanting to leave home. But originally I wanted to do HIV research, and I wanted to develop pharmaceuticals for it. And I think 97% of all HIV medications that are used now come from Emory. And so that was a big thing for me. Also, it's connected to the CDC. So that's a huge, road to have. That's a huge door to have open if I would like to go into pharmaceuticals away from teaching. So Emory, there are a lot of connections there. It's a great hospital. It's a great school. And so that was a big name for me.
Yes. And I'm actually not familiar with Emory, but I went and looked at the pictures and looked up the school, and it is phenomenal. And
Yes.
that is a good choice, a really good choice. And just like finding a school, which could be a challenge, starting something new is also a challenge. And we stated earlier that you are in the PhD program studying chemical biology and bioorganic chemistry. So, what is the biggest challenge being in the PhD program at Emory University?
Balance, work-life balance. So my first year, we were required to teach. Both semesters were TAs. And at Emory, because it's such a, I guess, a great school, teaching is not just watching the students in the lab and make sure they don't blow themselves up. You get questions that you may not know the answer to, really deep questions. So I would say trying to grade, trying to learn learn the lab before, and making sure I can answer all the questions while balancing research and balancing my own classes. That is probably the hardest. That was the hardest part. And even now, just balancing classes and research and making sure you get results, time really flies. Like, it's my second year and it feels like, I just started. So definitely the balance, the work-life balance is crucial. You have to really know how to live outside of the lab, or you'll probably get really depressed because you can't just live in the lab, right? So finding things that are constructive that you can do, things that you enjoy outside of the lab, just making time for life, making time for friends. Definitely the balance. That's the hardest part.
And you said that y'all had to teach students, right? So,
Yeah.
and you said a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, sometimes you get questions that you don't know the answers to. So when that happens, what do you do?
You try to point them to the answer. So if you don't know, refer them to a colleague, refer them to the professor, help them come up with it as well. That's a good question, because that was probably the hardest part. You start to lose confidence, especially coming in, you already feel like you don't know anything, right? And so and when you don't know the answer to give a freshman, it's kind of like, oh man, do I really belong here? But I would definitely say being confident enough to say, hey, I don't know, but let's try to figure it out together, or let's try to put our brains together, or go see Dr. whoever. So definitely point them in the direction. Don't act like you know, because if you give them the wrong answer, then you
Yes, and you have to, and that builds up your confidence too, and that helps you to realize, okay, I don't know everything, I'm learning as well, but we're gonna figure this out together, because two heads is better than one. So that's a good tip in just life, in general. So that was a really, really good answer. And according to ACS.org, there was a survey of PhD programs in chemistry, and the demographics of, and this was just the demographics of small programs with classes that range from 1 to 40 students. And the average number of students is usually about 25, with 53% of that being international, 3.2% being African American, 4.2 Hispanic, 0.3 is Native American, and out of that, 27.4% are women. So many times we're underrepresented, and in any capacity where you're underrepresented, whether that's being somewhere where it's gender or nationality or religion or sexual preferences, whatever it is, where you're underrepresented, it is a challenge.
Yes.
And in your class, there are only 9 out of 30 students who are who are people of color or African American. And in your class, it can be very, well, I don't know for sure, but it can be very overwhelming, being that there's a lack of representation and a lack of, and for you, how do you overcome self-doubts and the fear of failing?
Yeah, it's a great question, because not only are we only 9 of about 30, we're the first big class of people of color to come in to the chemistry program at Emory. Wow. So definitely like falling back and leaning on my people of color, right? In my class, and even outside of my class, there were a few before we came in. Leaning on them, having that community, that's the biggest one, because we're able to be vulnerable with each other, right? We know what we feel. But also just pushing forward, that's all you can really do. All you can do is press forward and prove yourself wrong. You may have to go that extra mile, right? You may have to spend a weekend reading literature. You may have to spend a weekend in the lab. That'll definitely build your confidence. That'll definitely get you to where you need to be. Just remember, like, you're there. Remember, you were good enough, right? You got in. So that's a big thing. Definitely just remembering who you are, why you're there, and working harder to understand. If you work harder and you read that paper, right? That'll give you, it's that low battery, but if you read that paper and it helps you understand why your experiment isn't working, you're there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then also ask your colleagues who aren't people of color, how do they succeed? What do they do? How do they figure out why their experiments aren't working? Just reaching out for that support.
Mm-hmm. And being underrepresented, how has that pushed you to strive harder for greatness?
Sorry. I represent a bigger group, right? If I
Mm-hmm.
fail, it seems like we all do. So that's how I strive. I have to remember that, sadly, I'm not only representing myself. I'm representing
Mm-hmm.
all of us, all Black women and all Black people. That's
Mm-hmm.
definitely my biggest push. That is my
Definitely.
biggest push. Yeah.
Definitely. And what is some advice that you can offer to someone about believing in themselves?
Again, remember that you're there for a reason. Remember that someone saw something.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest part. Just remember where you've come from. Think about your late nights where you cried. Think about where you wanted to give up and you didn't, and so you are where you are. You just have to always hold on to the fact that you are there. Always remember your abilities. Always remember, hey, remember that time when no one could get that to work, but I could? Just remember those moments. Remember those moments where you were the one.
Definitely. And this is just something that has happened recently. We're talking about being underrated and all of that. And something recently just happened that literally touched my spirit. And I'm just going to let y'all know about it, but I'm going to just let y'all know. Tyler Perry made history this weekend with the grand opening of Tyler Perry Studios, y'all. Perry is the first Black American to own a major film studio outright. The Atlanta Film Complex spans 330 acres with 12 sound stages, larger than Burbank, California lots owned by Warner Brothers, Paramount, and Walt Disney Studios combined. And us talking about being underrated, like you in your PhD program, and just in life in general, it's possible. We can succeed. We are succeeding. And whenever y'all feel like, okay, the odds are against me, just know that it is always possible to succeed. This man created something. He is the first Black person to do this, which is amazing. It is amazing. So, Brea, I just want to send you encouragement whenever you feeling down, whenever you like, man, this is just hard, or man, I feel underrepresented. Read Tyler Perry's story. Just go read that, because this man got it out the mud. Literally, this man was homeless. This man, he just had all the odds against him, and he literally did it. So I'm telling you and everybody else watching that you can do it. Don't ever feel like you can't, because you absolutely can. This man, and it's not about just the money. This man owns an island now. This man has his own private airplanes and all of this. So whatever it is you put your mind to, just know that you can do it, and you are going to have the lab that you want. You're going to be the teacher that you want. And if you want to do flip side and go be in the pharmaceutical world, you can do that too. So, Brea, whatever you want to do, do it, because we are all here rooting for you. And when you get your white coat, we're going to be rooting for you even more. You hear me?
Thank you.
Yes. You are so welcome. So my philosophy is be bold, be beautiful, be you. So what is a philosophy that you stand on and live by?
A philosophy I stand on. So I'm Christian. God will never, ever, ever give you anything that you can't handle. I've learned that being in a PhD program. Mm-hmm. That's a huge one. Definitely. I see it. Like, I live it every day.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And whenever we feel like we can't, just know that God got us. He never gives us more than we can handle. Ever. That is so, so true. So October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I am doing the 23-day Love Talk Challenge in efforts to raise money for the Knitted Knockers Foundation. And I am asking all of my supporters to support me in this cause by donating $23 to Radiant Love, which will be donated to the Knitted Knockers Foundation. So what is some advice that you can give? What are some encouraging words that you can give to someone that may be going through a hard time or has gone through a hard time?
Oh, this is what I always tell myself: ride the wave. I always say, get your surfboard and ride, because that's what it is, right? It's just a wave. It's gonna always pass, because we're gonna have bad times in life. Mm-hmm. Life happens, but I promise, you're gonna hit shore. You're gonna hit shore at some point. So definitely just ride it through. Don't give up. Just ride it through.
Definitely, because like you said, it's a wave. What goes up must come down. It's just something that's gonna pass. Just hang on in there, because guess what? God got you, without a doubt.
Definitely, yes.
Yes. So I just want to open up the floor to you now to say whatever it is that is on your heart.
Okay. Just some stuff kind of back to being in a PhD program. I meant to mention another thing I like to do is surround myself by greatness. Great Black people, right? You were saying that Tyler Perry was the first. So I also like to go back and look at first. You're not going to see a lot of Blacks necessarily in the media. You always get, oh, this person is the first Black to do this, the first Black to do that. Look up those first. Always familiarize yourself with those first. That's going to always kind of bring you, because when you see a first here and there, it seems like, oh, well, it's just him. He's special. He's the one person that did it. There are a lot of firsts in history. There are a lot of firsts that are still living. So that's also really, really, really huge. You have to surround your mind and yourself around greatness and people who look like you that did great things. That's something that's very big. Yeah.
You have to. And that pushes you to know that it's possible, one, and two, that you can do it too. Definitely. So it's very, very important to surround yourself around, like you said, around greatness, around like-minded people. If someone is trying to bring you down and is not like-minded or something, not necessarily like-minded, but on a positive path, right, separate yourself from the negativity is what I'm basically trying to say, because it's easy to get consumed in that. So like you said, look up those greats and use that as encouragement. Wow, they did it. Okay, let me see how they did it and find ways that I can incorporate that into my life so that I can be great like them, and just on that scale, because it is very possible and it's in our reach. We just have to believe it and achieve it. We definitely. Yes. So I just want to thank you so much for being a guest on Love Talk. And I just want to encourage you to just keep going, push through the hard times. And like you said, ride the wave.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. So I just want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. Remember that it is the 23 Days of Love Talk Challenge. So be sure to tune in all month long in the month of October and support the cause by donating $23 to Radiant Love, which will be donated to the Knitted Knockers Foundation. Y'all have a good night. Thank you, Brea.
Of course, no problem, Angel.
Good night.
Good night.